come in, they know exactly why they beat anyone's legend last week, and now we're going to see if they can do it again. I think the good thing about this pick for RNG to kind of move past the memes is that, right, it opens them up to playing more around top. Like you said, you'd want to see a team do a Smolder, and that's where RNG have at least looked a bit better, right? Playing around Wave, playing around Breathe, and then just letting LWX plan his own farm up and be a threat later.
Going to the things that have worked in the past for RNG. The Breathe Way combo with Ming on the roam. I really like the Nautilus with the Ahri. The amount of focus you can have and jump down onto the Smolder is very, very big here, and I'm sure they'll be able to follow that up even more so in the first phase. Now, we did get the Alistar and the Way locked in for RNG, so a little bit of difference there, but a lot of setup for the little dragon.
I was expecting the Kai'Sa to come through. You have the Ahri. Kai'Sa Nautilus would have been the combo. Having the all-in, we've seen it many times now as being one of the answers. But instead, wanting to match scaling with scaling, hoping they can get more done in the early game, which they should, right? Especially having the Nautilus with this end up being way more potent in the 2v2 against Smolder Alistar. So we'll see if having this insurance policy with Abel Senna is going to be able to do OMG well, because this has not been the way that the OMG bot lane has played out and found success so far.
Not only that, but how many times have we seen this question asked in the LPL? Like, I feel maybe it's a little bit different now, obviously, at 4-2-5, but we've seen this be attempted by so many teams and fall completely flat against the Smolder. I'm very interested if OMG are going to be another one added to the docket here.
I do.
Or if they are going to be able to have that scaling.
I do feel like it's a bit better in the sense that, like, since Smolder's paired with the Alistar and with the Senna, you have the Nautilus, which in my mind is my favorite Senna combo. You have the Ahri already. It's like there's some potential there to still set up for aggressive dives and things like that. But I agree, right? I mean, just going a more aggressive route feels like it would have been better. This does align with it, though. I mean, having the Wukong able to come down towards bot lane, having the Senna enable him, I like what I'm seeing so far from OMG.
So far, so good. They have a lot of lockdown, but also a lot of space provided in that lockdown, too. There is still the counter pick available for the top side of the map for Cube. I think that's going to be very important against Breathe again once the biggest part, I feel like, of the RNG roster to play around when top was actually king. The Renekton is there.
Now needing to round it out with a jungler of their own. I'm curious what they'll pick. You have things like the Pompey for the, the low amounts of dive in from the Wukong, Nautilus, and Ahri, but of course against the Senna, not going to feel too great. Don't have a ton of engage yourself. And going with the Jax.
Hey, I guess just go with a bit of pressing in the solo lanes here, because they're going to be really active, it feels like, especially with Wei on the Jax. The availability of the K'Sante is definitely there and of comfort, but the Udyr has been the pick of choice for Cube in the past for OMG. And it is going to be the lock-in for the 15th time. So we were talking about, Ming has played 16 different champions. Well, now Cube has played Udyr 15 times.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of their picks, right? I mean, you hit on it. The Udyr, the Viego, the TF, Rakan, like, OMG have so many signature champions. Going to be able to get their hands on at least one with the Udyr. And I got to say, I kind of like what OMG put together more. You have the Jax in the jungle for RNG. I'm interested to see what it's going to be able to do. I think it can find aggression in the 1v1 and the 2v2 around mid jungle, but at the same time, I'm wondering how much prio they're really going to be able to get across the map to allow for that. And OMG have a ton of ways to be able to dive on the Smolder. They have the Senna enabling it from the backline. You have the Dawning Shadows to throw on top of that to give even more stability. So we're going to see, right? You have strong individual champions for RNG, but can they string them together? Can they make it to the mid game and let the Hui and Smolder have a chance to carry?
There's a lot of scaling in this game, a lot of insurance policies being paid forth here by both squads, but I think the story does come down to a lot of the want of both these teams. OMG want to be a serious contender. They want to move to a positive win score in their season. RNG just want to stay alive. They want to be able to make anything out of this really rough season so far, and they want to stay out of being eliminated from playoffs. I think this season has been a tough one for both these squads in different ways, but RNG relying on comfort, relying on something that has worked in the past for them in the Smolder. We'll see if OMG can pick apart that win condition.
Yeah, and RNG, if they lose, they're out because of their game difference. Right now, they're sitting at -12. Cannot afford anymore. So RNG's playoff dreams are on the line in this game against OMG.
The RNG fans out in force. They know what today has in store for it. And Shanghai is starting to get filled up to the brim there as you see the camera angles and the crowd in full force. But again, a serious series for RNG. An organization who has known the highest of highs and now looking to stay away from the lowest of lows.
I think what they're going to need is going to really have to be based around mid especially. I think Tangyuan should have a fine time in this lane. I mean, you have a lot of range to play with. I think the amount of CC you have built into your kit as a way as well makes it really hard for already find any opportunities on you. You should have lane push. So using that to enable your jacks and setting up for the sword, like you said, in way, feels like it needs to be the plan for RNG.
But he's Jax. He doesn't have a real weapon. It's not a sword. What do we do?
You know,
Also,
I just want to eternally now think of Jax as a fisherman. Ever since they've added that into the game, that is by far one of my favorite interactions in League of Legends.
If you don't go that skin, you're doing it wrong, I guess. You get trades
I
from
agree.
the top side 1v1 there. Also, I want to beg your ideals about the TP tech for Nautilus that we're seeing rise to prominence here. I feel like it gives you so many options with the farming, or the farming Nautilus rather, to move around the map.
Yeah, and I mean, not needing heal, right? There should be no kill threat in the lane from RNG. So, and a lot of the times, right, when you're opting into these Nautilus Senna lanes, that is the case. Not needing something like a heal. You have the heals coming out from the Senna to provide the sustain. So, I definitely love the adjustments to TPs. I think having as many TPs as you can just opens up so many different map plays on side lanes. We'll see if OMG does any wacky things as this game goes on, right? Because have a beautiful 1-3-1 with the Udyr and the Ahri, and they really can just pull RNG all around the map.
The TPs will help that as well. We take a look at the mirror side starts for both these junglers. And we'll be opting into the opposite side focuses at least. And the push already here from OMG. They're able to collapse a gigantic minion wave.
OMG doing a nice job so far in the spot lane. Kind of that in their top side, right? That is where they're strong. We did see in mid, Tangyuan winning out in trades, as you would expect. Really able to take advantage of that range. So far, I think things going according to plan for both sides. And the question is just going to be about which jungler gets involved first. I'm curious, especially if XiaoFang ends up looking for any opportunities mid with how much Tangyuan's been pushing up.
You have the option, right? We actually see the Scuttle Crab opposition, I guess, for both these two guys. But I think if we do end up getting something, it would be a little bit delayed for OMG in this regard. I really think they want to get Angel out of mid lane as well, but they're able to play pretty safely. And that's where we have a little bit of time to focus on what I feel like in past seasons would have literally been a world championship caliber bot lane in LWX and Ming. And something that I feel like is a elephant in the room is the lack of duality between the two.
Yeah, they have not played well. They really haven't played well together. Haven't looked good individually. Again, Ming's had some moments, I feel like. LWX as well, but it definitely feels like he was especially the rougher one early on in the split. And it's just surprising. I mean, with how little RNG has changed as well coming out from last year, I think it's even more surprising at how poorly they've started off the split so far. And I mean, you can only guess what's going on behind the scenes for underperformance of this nature to come through, because maybe RNG shouldn't be like a top 4 or top 5 team with this roster by any means, right? But they at the very least should be towards that bottom end of playoffs.
Yeah.
And just hasn't been able to get there. But maybe this is where it changes, Mazel. Maybe this game right here.
And the one before. And
I was gonna say,
smaller.
I guess technically it would have been the last series if they ended up winning here. But still, the point stands.
There's a sunny side on the horizon here. We do have the objectives already started up. It looked like Wei just wanted to make sure to grab at least one, but now knowing that OMG are collapsing around the bottom side objective, he will just go for all three. At least now just being able to clear those up. It will be the trade early, and both teams kind of piloting away from each other so far.
And you can see the lack of threat in the bot lane where, I mean, Ppgod is actually up on farm over LWX so far, which is something you really don't see, right? Typically, the farming support is 10, potentially even 20 CS down when playing up against actual marksmen. OMG been able to do a good job. We'll see if RNG can fully commit. Man, 4 members here.
Hey, if you're going to commit to the bit. Cube gonna try to tank this one up, but they already know what's coming. He wants to get the minion wave down, but he doesn't have enough time, and here comes the collapse from RNG. Ming's not even around anymore, and that's first blood to Royal Never Give Up.
They use 2 ultimates, they commit 4 members, but at the end of the day, they pick up the kill. It looks like they shouldn't even be able to get a plate on top lane. OMG gonna try and find a response, but LWX showing the respect that's needed.
He's such a good little dragon. Able to play pretty safe. They do take 2 plates in the bottom side. A solo one there for Ppgod as well. They were starting to move Angel, but good communication from RNG meant that LWX backed off. We'll see a renewed state of game where RNG have a little bit of an advantage in the topside play.
Yeah, it's nice seeing, and this is what you're talking about with fitting the game plan of at least fitting the style of how RNG have been lately, right? Where we're saying like, hey, their top side was a bit better when LWX started performing. I love them just leaving him here by himself. I love that he's respecting the potential aggression. And
you just
I think
gotta make
stability.
it to 225.
Exactly, right?
Do.
You just need to find stability, and they've been able to do it so far in this first 7 minutes.
That 33 stack mark already gonna be looking to get some skirmishes going as time goes on here. I think that's where I want to return to the conversation of the Smolder versus Senna and kind of how OMG can tool this into a victory. We talked about it in draft. The amount of CC lockdown they have to specifically target LWX is huge, and they will be able to have pretty nice sustained fights if they want to go for the 5-on-5s.
Yeah, and I mean, for OMG, it's just all about the dive, right? It's literally everybody running at the Smolder, or even if Tangyuan ends up being the bigger threat, right, and LWX maybe gets set behind for whatever reason. Nautilus, Ahri, Wukong, they will be able to get to the backline, especially if they have flashes up. So I think for OMG, it's just going to be about finding those angles, warding for flanks. For RNG, it's going to be about marking those flanks and being able to pay attention. LWX's positioning is going to be the most important thing in this game, and even then, he could position perfectly, and still Flash Cyclone might come on top of you, and what could you do?
Yeah, sure. The bane of an ADC, the bane of a little dragon. Actually see consistent move from Angel down towards mid lane, or bot lane from mid lane. Hasn't been able to find the full pull off just yet, and again, it's just very difficult to finally tackle this LWX bot lane because they can play so safe.
Yeah, and they have been playing far back. They have been respecting. It's been at the cost of their plates. Is Wei now gonna see if he can
sixes
find
are there.
anything?
Oh, they took the bait. Ming wants to go back in, and Wei has the angle here. Abel knows what's coming down, and Mommy is called. And beautiful predict from Wei. The sword is unleashed, and LWX gets the kill.
Nice job by them. I mean, OMG wanted to go for it because they were hitting 6 first, but RNG, knowing that timing, having Wei come down so they can pick up a kill for themselves, and the fact that it goes on to Smolder is beautiful.
Really, really good target prioritization there on the map. And Wei able to have a lot of influence in this early game so far, and that's where RNG can find advantage, and we've seen them do so in the past. Now, we look back at the replay here. It was just that good timing.
Yeah, right? I mean, we see level 6 come out for Ppgod. They want to go for the engage, and sadly, it seals their fate, because then the lockdown from the Alistar is enough. But there it is, like you said, the prediction from Wei, knowing he's going to have to run forward. I mean, had he not been flashed, still would have gone down anyway, so maybe would have been the right call. But I understand the attempt to get out, especially because Abel was just throwing out the root, so maybe there's a world where that lands on the Jax, he root all 3, and somehow Ppgod gets away on a sliver of health.
I would be surprised here if OMG don't want to contest the grubbies. Maybe 6 grubs over to this RNG squad, just furthering their late game win condition. Here comes OMG's contest. RNG do get 4th. but they will not get in any more at least.
Oh, and these teams, they're looking to
They
scrap.
want to get a fifth. They really just want one more. If RNG can force this, that's big. Oh, it's a smite fight. Oh, he got it. OMG deny the fifth stack.
Yeah, it seems like neither team being too comfortable in just outright starting off a fight because of the lack of ults. You know, Ppgod not having his Surge Line, LWX not having... I guess LWX was there, so that not really dissuading RNG, but OMG not wanting to look for the tussle without that ult on Ppgod. Angel's ult, though, was just forced out.
And now we reset and go fight for the dragon, because OMG would be stacking a second one, as well as XiaoFang going down towards that bottom side.
RNG might not even look to contest. We'll see, because Wei's camps are on the bottom side, so you'd expect him to pat down there unless he's going to look to come cover top. And oh, actually,
They're
that's
spotted out, though.
Yeah, 3 members, though.
Is it enough? He just needs to clear the wave a little bit. He's going to pop that ghost, run his way out of there with the Phoenix stance, and able to be just fine on the Udyr while the dragon started up by OMG, so second dragon will be secured by them.
Yeah, there should have been no world where RNG looked to go for a right. I mean, you still have the Smolder getting his stacks, not really looking for the confrontation. But the fact that they're not able to find more like they were looking for is...
Oh, Abel's in a lot of trouble. He's could go down here. One more auto. He's going to flash out. Depth charge used by Ppgod to get him his way out.
Yeah, that was so close. And you do not need LWX picking up another kill. So not only do they defend their bot lane turret, they actually do end up picking up the one in top. So RNG, despite all my criticism, having a much better game so far than we even saw in their series win against AL.
Got themselves a hefty chunk of gold early on here with a scaling bottom lane in Smolder. They also will have a Trinity Force completed. So the topside matchups are going to get even spicier now because they also have the Eclipse for Breathe. So trying to get these first item spikes out on the board for RNG is now the play.
Yeah, Triforce also picked up by Wei. That's going to be a significant one. Even something as small as Sorcerer Shoes on Wei, I mean, it's going to make it so your trades under the Ahri are going to be that much more meaningful. So I think RNG coming into a point of power, but when they're the team that still feels a bit fine sitting back, I think they should be okay with this. The thing I'm curious about as the game continues is the Smolder scaling. Is this stuff going to be more meaningful than just the way the comps play out? Right? Because at the end of the day, if XiaoFang, Angel, Ppgod, these guys can get on Smolder, it doesn't matter how many stacks, how strong he is. He should go down.
Trying to figure out why they did the super zoom in of mom call, but it's back up, ready to go, and RNG are looking to collapse over this bottom side as well.
A lot of members here. No wave makes this hard unless able. Ooh, I'm always a bit scared for the OMG bot lane just because of their flippy tendencies in the past. If they would have actually looked for that fight.
So is Smolder just the ticket for RNG at this point? Like it looks like a completely different team, and it looks so efficient when they're playing around it like this.
You know, I want to say yes, but at the same time, that does feel way too... It feels too cheap to just be like, hey, Smolder. Because at the same time, right, RNG did lose a game with Smolder in their series against AL. And,
but it's the strategy of how they play together when this is the pick. I feel like that is the essence.
So you're saying more about just ignoring LWX, leaving him on his own devices,
yes, I think
and
so.
playing elsewhere. I agree. That probably is the bigger part of the deal is... Right now, Ming just going to defend Breathe. Hell, even thinking back to, right, the Xiaohu top split when Ming was constantly going top. I think playing around top is, weirdly enough, been where modern RNG have looked most comfortable. Yeah. Which sounds crazy when, you know, the essence of RNG is the long time with Uzi, giving everything the bot lane. Completely flipped on its head.
And now we feed the puppy sparingly. As turret does get traded back down, that won't be much, but it's a little bit of something to keep the lead about a 1,000 gold differential.
So
now,
what you're wait, you made me realize something. So what you're saying is, so Uzi was the puppy. LWX is some kind of creature, animal, plant, like something that runs off photosynthesis. You feed him nothing, he does his stuff on his own. He stands in the
So he's a
sun.
plant.
Yeah, that's how you made it sound to me.
I just said feed it sparingly. It's like a diet.
But that's
when you
animal
put your
cruelty. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. You just put your animal on a diet. Like, that's normal. Sometimes. If they're a little too big, too chunky, too chompy. This dragon is not chunky just yet. He's at 129 stacks, though, so he's at least got a little bit of extra AoE power to him. But next up on the Rift is the Rift Herald use of Wei. I want to see where he tries to get this gold. Looks like it's going to be the bot side tower, potentially. But with the breathe back, that won't be the case.
No, and if we look at the state of the map, I mean, right, you could look mid. OMG don't have a ton of wave clear anyway, so realistically, if RNG do just start breaking open the game, that one will be quite easy for them to take. But if they break open mid, it's going to make it so much easier for them to threaten collapses on the side laners like Cube and Angel, who should be looking for that 1-3-1 like we talked about. So we'll see what they do. Herald, I feel like this split has been mostly relegated to use to just gain prio to Dragon, a lot more so than it was last year.
It's oh. I was gonna say it's curious. This is also curious because Angel's gonna have to burn his flash and immediately use the Spirit Rush as well.
So gets out. Not gonna have that up for Drake. If RNG do decide to contest that one, you would think it'd actually be a decent time with the fact that they did just get that flash out and the ult.
Got pretty even item separation here. We do get the Rift Herald finally utilized. Again, the distraction Carnifex in the mid lane. RNG pull the attention of OMG, get priority from mid lane to move into the Dragon Pit now. See if OMG are still going to contest, actually.
That's what I'm wondering, right? Because, again, you have Angel now, no ult, no flash. Can TP in, has it available, and OMG at least look interested.
They're going to
and they are.
So RNG are not starting it up yet. RNG get caught wanting. Wei was soloing it. Here comes Mother. To do too much but dissuade OMG off of that one. RNG a little bit split on their decision here, and now OMG have a way of contesting.
Yeah, it looks like RNG weren't willing to fully commit, and they were just trying. They were wondering themselves if OMG were going to commit, which is why they brought Breathe all the way down to bot.
XiaoFang's all by himself, but the engage goes through. That was Ppgod with the dredge line. Wei is already got out of the fight, and that's a really big ticket if you're wanting to take a dragon. Your jungler is gone, which means OMG stream forth into the Dragon Pit. Breed doesn't really have a way out. He's a big crocodile, but he finally does. He does end up burning his flash. Dragon number 3 to OMG.
And the hesitation punishing RNG there. It seemed like they were too worried about covering that flank from XiaoFang. I think it was Wei. Someone was marking him off on the flank, and that just allowed Abel to keep hitting him. Now it's sole point for OMG at 18 minutes.
That's a pretty big win condition there. At least a lot of the speed provided by Cloud Soul will be really nice, especially for Cube and the like. Angel. And I do wonder now, RNG losing a lot of the lead they had developed for themselves, tying up the evenness of the goal differential, and again, that hesitation.
Right, you can see Breathe, he's worried about XiaoFang, and RNG all just kind of slowly stepping forward, but it allows for the engage to come through. LWX not in range to put off any damage. They have the burst to just take him out outright. As Wei.
Oh. Okay. He's going for a contest. You see Tangyuan doesn't have much mana. He's going to make his way out of that one. Wei is still here, trying to contest over XiaoFang. He's taking a little bit of his farm away.
I think it's going to be interesting this game, because since we have such an early soul, we're going to have to see RNG fight the next Drake, right? And that could be where OMG find the explosion. That turns into a Baron, and they could actually start moving this game forward. Because now gold is still incredibly even. Hell, RNG actually being the team up in gold from all the earlier trades.
And we haven't seen the advantage for LWX just yet. Obviously, he's scaling, but this is kind of the ticket we wanted to see if you're facing up against a Smolder. You press your advantages. You have a very centered dive composition so that once LWX does get ahead, he won't have the items to really rebuff a huge dive attempt onto him. And you have to pick apart the RNG comp early and often. And OMG have done just that in little ways. I think RNG had those advantages early, but we've seen a falling off of that.
The one thing I will say about RNG's comp is it isn't as tanky or beefy as what OMG bring to the table, though, right? So, hell, we saw that in the last fight at how quickly they were brought down. Okay, I was wondering how much confidence Q brought to the table, and he brought just enough.
Just enough.
Not too much.
Yeah, it's like when you're baking a cake, a breathe crocodile cake.
It takes confidence to make a cake. I guess it would.
Absolutely. Have you ever made a cake?
You know,
You don't have confidence. It turns out not
I
great.
want to say I have, but I don't remember. So we're actually going to say no.
Well, then next time we hang out in the future, we have to bake a cake. We can make an LPL cake.
You know who you should get on that? You should hit up the main man, Ashin. I don't know why I'm referring this to Ashin, but it's like, I don't want to deal with it, so...
Oh, there's no backing to it. It's not like she's like a renowned baker. You just don't want the pressure.
He might be. Ashin might be a renowned baker.
Anybody might be.
He seems, Ashin seems like the kind of guy who could do anything he sets his mind to. So I'm going to say yes, he's a renowned baker.
All right, you learn something new every day.
And you know what?
I'm a renowned physicist.
Ooh, finally going for a fight.
Cube needs to kind of get some damage back in check on the RNG because he is an Udyr. Got the collapsing Ming here, but there is a reason why Cube has picked this champion 15 times. It's because he can take the pressure.
Especially this game, right? A ton of AD on the side of RNG, so he's been able to go for the Bramble Vest, the Frozen Heart, and really just index into only having armor so far in the game. And you could see Wei and Breathe, Renekton and Jax not going to be a force that's able to take him down. He's finally going to start going towards that MR. You'd assume the Kanik Rooker is going to be what comes next. Knowing that now 2 items on Tangyuan, he's going to start being a problem that Cube has to deal with, especially with, just how low Hui's cooldowns are as the game progresses. Really, throwing out the QE, Cube going to have to deal with standing in that. So I like the itemization choices made thus far. And now we're getting to the point, Mazel. 40 seconds, the Dragon to decide it all. Unless for whatever reason OMG decide not to take the fight and are like, oh.
They just take the fight already.
Angel?
As Angel getting spiraling despaired. Mother will not hit home there. Gotta make sure to coordinate that. And now RNG moving forward into a dragon pit that needs to be fought over. OMG can give this one.
And I was scared that that's what OMG were going to do regardless, as there it is, 231 on the stacks now for LWX, so it does have that execute.
Pretty huge. They go in. They actually get that bird. Ppgod realizes they need to walk away from the dragon. RNG are now going to start their own dragon, potentially, if they can force off OMG. LWX still playing pretty far up.
Ppgod his TP. He's going to come back in. I think ideally OMG would want to fight this here because the longer the game goes on, the more annoying it should get for them. What is that TP?
Ppgod's in a lot of trouble here. He does have the rest of the team right behind him, though. They're trying to get priority in mid lane from OMG. They do so, but RNG moving over to the dragon, trying to play off this control ward here.
Okay, trying to force them off so far, but I like it. OMG regaining vision as a team. Again, they have a ton of meatballs, so it isn't that hard for them to face check.
You gotta be careful about some of the spacing tools. Oh, there we go. A little bit of damage, but RNG are looking for a fight. LWX goes over. This is beautiful for LWX. They are front to backing, and OMG are getting dwindled here. RNG pull the trigger. They pull the dragon, and OMG realize they can't fight the heat.
No, not ready for it. And now RNG going to be able to turn back to Drake, but OMG maybe thinking about rejoining the brawl. Cubist TP.
LWX and co in the pit. He gets his own dragon there, and now he's moving as Mother comes out yet again. The cooldown's so short. He's moving away from Cube. Ming's getting brought down, but you got to watch the executes. They're going to start piling up here as LWX is under duress. Wei is still alive. OMG, you got to finish the kill. Did they not teach you to double tap? Finally, he goes down. XiaoFang gets the kill, but OMG, they score some back.
And this is where it's going to really count, right? Because OMG, you're going to have to run towards the Baron. 2 people are dead. If they can get that and start building a gold lead, that might be exactly what they need to actually get ahead in this game. Because denying that soul, picking up some kills of their own in the initial fight was pretty big for RNG.
We finally get some action. There was like 3 kills in 22 minutes, and it's not much more, but we actually get some more coming down. Baron is started. No way on the table. RNG got to make something happen. A miracle potentially. Or maybe just a little dragon. They don't get the engage from Ppgod now as well. RNG moving in now with Ming. They can try to deny this. They can get a lot of damage down. Ming goes in to sacrifice his life. LWX has the angle. LWX has one. Is this another pentakill? Maybe they could set it up, but Cube is able to walk away the rest of the team. Maybe not so lucky though. Breathe cuts him down and back onto the Baron, but this time it's RNG.
RNG, they're able to find the engage, and now they're going to be able to take the Baron, so clearly finding a formula that works, and unexpected, right? OMG not able to come into this game really all too much so far. You do have a strong Udyr, have some items on XiaoFang. Maybe there's possibilities in fights going forward, but they have never been able to find their way onto LWX.
LWX doing so much work. Starting to see what the Smolder brings to the table for RNG. The answer has not been up to snuff so far from OMG in the Senna, and we see them be picked apart by the little dragon.
And this was so crazy, right? Such an extended standoff in skirmish, but we see RNG do end up getting forced back because of their low health bars, because of how long this did go on. But then, Mazel, it gets a little bit weird. This Counter-Strike allows Wei to stay alive a lot longer than he should have. And oh, I guess we're just going to jump over here. Tangyuan, I think, is another kind of low-key person to highlight in this. That first QE, I think, doing massive amounts of damage across the OMG squad.
We see back in the live picture here, the outer tower got taken in mid lane, and they were onto a tier 2. Now Ming trying to find XiaoFang and Angel there. RNG just looking for picks in the downtime, but now an outer tower should be going down to Breathe.
Playing out their 2 lanes so far. I doubt OMG will put themselves in a position to really be picked off. And it looks like so far maybe signaling for a pivot towards mid. Still have a lot of time to work with this Baron.
OMG actually looking for a play on bottom side. Anytime you see Angel and XiaoFang connect, it can be lethal. Abel still miles away from the scaling department. We're over 300 stacks now for LWX, and it does not stop. This execute is going to be ridiculous, and you've got to find ways to temper the heat.
Having complete confidence is playing out the 2 lanes, not even afraid of OMG overcommitting to one side. Looks like they're hoping to threaten that on bot, but the push and pull between mid and bot's pretty nice so far from RNG. So OMG not feeling comfortable enough to commit anywhere.
A substantial lead now for RNG, almost 6,000 gold, and not something you can say they've had a lot of in this split, even though they do have those 3 series wins. And that is the conversation I want to return this back to, because this series matters, I feel like, the most for RNG in keeping themselves away from the shadows that would be a playoff-less postseason. And OMG themselves in a much better position, but not in this game.
Yeah, for RNG, it's about putting off the sadness. You know what I mean? Because if RNG lose here today, they're out. If they win here today, it's still incredibly unlikely that they make it. I know that, you know that, everyone knows that. But hey, if you can at least feel good about another win for another day, that is what counts. But hey, no one gets to feel good right now because Engage already coming through.
They actually have Breathe coming in, but the fight's already kicking off here as Mother is called, and here comes the executes. Oh, they actually find him! They find him! They actually got LWX! Breathe can't do anything! That was the one thing we said needed to happen, and now OMG, they just got to turn the fight around afterwards. Breathe is in some trouble. He's trying to heal up, but he can't do it. Wei is about to go down to XiaoFang, and OMG, by golly, they've done it!
LWX ending up too far forward. Still had Flash available too, I believe, at the time. I don't think that one came up right as the engage happened, but it might have. We'll see in the replay, because that's going to be crucial. Now it's going to lead OMG to be able to turn onto the Drake. I like that RNG are answering back, or at least trying to, but this DP going to shut down everything.
I will just say, as the Smolder, I'm nowhere even close to touching the caliber of these players, but when you are the Smolder and you have all of that pressure on your back because you know how ridiculous this champion is, these moments feel 1,000 times more impactful and that much worse.
And I checked, his flash did come up right as he died. So moves forward, leaves himself vulnerable to Cube running him down, the Udyr stun right into the Cyclone. Not a whole lot of chance.
They
for
have to
movement
play
come
towards
through.
him, though. Like, nobody was there to peel for any of that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, right, they didn't expect the flank to come through, right? It seemed like RNG thought they were the ones starting off the fight. They were the ones running down OMG. But they quickly found out otherwise. So, nice return by them. Again, a lot of this being set up by that Udyr that you highlighted, Cube, loving going back towards.
Just
still
runs at
RNG
people.
4K gold up. I think they're still in a pretty decent position.
We did see the soul picked up by OMG. That makes it even easier to run down LWX once you pop your ultis. And that's what I want to see, a holistic change in literally just RNG. Wherever LWX is, put 4 bodies around him, keep him safe. Because this is your win condition.
Yeah, it feels a bit rough because then, I mean, Jackson, Renekton are just functioning as meat shields. We'll see if it can work out, because even then, right, then you're even potentially setting up for just 5 of your team getting cycloned, and then it leading to an even bigger wipe than it would have before. We'll see, though. I think Tangyuan also can be a large player in this. We've seen every team fight where OMG are grouped up. He actually is the person putting off some of the most damage. Now being 3 items strong.
Oh, Wei does a lot of damage right there. Spiraling Despair used onto the clone. Very unfortunate there. So decent cooldown. It'll be back up shortly, but decent cooldown utilized. RNG, we're just trying to find a play.
And now we're at a point where it's all about dancing around this Baron. Baron about to be up in 5 seconds. Cube does have TP to where Breathe does not. I guess we're going to find out how well OMG have timed these summoners. Doesn't seem like it because Cube is going to run up here to meet up with his team himself.
We do have 4th item for LWX, which is big. You know, first 4th item in the game. We also have 3 items for a lot of other members across the board for them. So the power spikes are really starting to hit that late game potential.
Yeah.
And I think one big catch out means the difference, like that anchor.
I want to highlight that 4th item too because it's GA, which means if the same thing happens as it did last time, at least LWX will have a chance once that GA pops to potentially flash into an E and, you know, pop the ghost. Like there will be a potential chance to escape even if the engage comes on top of him.
They actually find a weird angle here with a bit of a choke point that Wei was trying to find his way into. As I do think that OMG pressing here is good. If they get one big hook from Ppgod is huge, and RNG, realizing they're in a bit of a sticky situation, will back away to defend the mid turret.
The problem is OMG don't have a ton of options, I think, to progress the game forward on this Baron, because it's like, sure, you can just start the Baron, but you're doing that against the Smolder ult, against all the AoE from the Hui, which is why they keep trying to just make plays and picks in the river itself and not funnel into a small choke point.
Ppgod just can't find the anchor to pull his team out of the depths of RNG's winning condition. Angel gets scared, pops the Spirit Rush, missing the charm as well. That's a big cooldown used. Angel's going to keep that last charge as long as he can. That is huge.
Ooh. And I think this is where OMG might have to stop looking for this. Not having the Spirit Rush means already now not going to be a piece you can really rely on to be able to follow up with you. I mean, last time it was Cube and XiaoFang that were able to take down the Smolder, but again, you need to worry about the play.
Ooh, Breathe is chunked by Angel. Here comes Ppgod's final anchor, maybe, as he does go through the execute. Is starting to get pretty thick there from LWX as he starts to stack. OMG, this has been a game of let's test the waters. Okay, it hurts. Let's back away.
And I've been waiting to see when we hover over Senna to see how many stacks she's on herself, right? Because when you start getting some of that absurd range, that's where these standoffs do feel a little bit better for OMG.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see that shortly, but a reset does end up coming through for OMG, so redeploy there. RNG will take the time to do so as well. They should be very close. Okay, they actually don't get that 4th item for Tangyuan, so that's actually pretty big. But we'll get those item spikes really coming online here. 5th items being built towards as an Elder Dragon in sub-minute.
Oh, Ming!
Oh, no, Ming. This can't be the catch-out. They do anyways. And OMG, they have just made this a 4v5 fight for Elder Dragon.
It's like, all right, observers, we know Smolder 396 stacks. Let's hover over Abel.
You've just been watching that this entire time. You're just like, when are they going to do it? I mean, that's 400 stacks on LWX. That's insane.
But, you know, I think Abel deserves a little love, too. You know what I mean? Like, what if he has 400 stacks, Mazel? I guess that doesn't matter, because that's not possible.
You could literally shoot, like, across the map with that, you know?
They're going to go for the Baron. Let's see what RNG could do. They don't really have a great way of engaging onto this.
They have good damage, though, but there's the pick out, and they're right on the way. That's the key target. He realizes it, and they back away, but it's not enough. LWX is flashed on. They might have an angle here. Breathe is tanking up a storm. LWX just needs to get damage in. Breathe going forward. Breathe tanking up, and look at LWX. He's a big, strong boy, and he's looking forward onto XiaoFang. They find the angle. They find the fight. They take down Ppgod in a 4v5.
Not having the Cyclone to fall back on ended up biting OMG this time. RNG somehow get out like bandits. And Elder's up. Elder's up. You're missing Ppgod. They are going to try to buy time because Ppgod does have TP. If they could dissuade RNG from committing to the objective.
They are flying in here as Cube having a little bit of speed at his back, trying to make a difference. XiaoFang coming around the edge. Angle has a flank. They have a pincer maneuver available to them, but RNG don't know. And here comes the collapse. Angel's trying to pick off one. He's almost about to get executed. He burns his flash to get away. And OMG realize they can't stand the heat in the kitchen. They have to be careful because that pot's about to burn. They get it anyways. He steals the Elder, and OMG are looking to cook themselves. LWX is half health and backing away. Objective secured and over to the Baron.
A flip feels like the only way this game deserves to be decided. After all the shenanigans, all the standoffs we've been seeing in this game so far. So there they go, like you said, turning onto the Baron. I wonder if RNG are going to even look to contest. It'd be crazy, right? It'd be suicide.
It'd be so hard for them to even get there in time. At this point, they're going to try to get there. They have a little bit of Cloud Soul helping them, but it's not going to be enough. So double mega buffs for OMG.
Yeah, I mean, this was close before. It was really going either way, just from the amount of mistakes we're having from both teams, right? People like Ming overstepping a little bit, Angel being forced to blow ulti earlier on. I was really delayed how long this game has gone. Now, though, with the pushing power they have, with the team fighting power they have, it's going to be about how much of the base they could break down, because Angel, once again, really being the one to start off buying time for OMG to be able to find this.
You're so scared.
He was, but it's here where RNG realized, hey, we have to get this guy out of here. XiaoFang can look for the steal, and then they just commit. They look for the flip. Both teams still throwing abilities at the Drake.
Oh. Yeah,
just ever so slightly.
Way just not able to get it there, and really clutch decision making from OMG to stay in the fight.
They needed to, right? I mean, hell, had that Elder gone over to RNG, it would have 100%, I think, GG with the fights. But now we're gonna see what they can make do with. They do have the range from the center to be able to play with. They're not leaning into the 1-3-1, which I think makes sense. Would be a bit dangerous. You open yourself to engages, but look at Breathe and
They
Top.
don't have a way of dealing with him. Okay, so Breathe is actually more scared than OMG were. They called a bluff because they didn't have a way of answering. I mean, they had the empowered backs of Baron, but they didn't have anybody in position as it was crashing onto the inhib turret. But now RNG back to defend bot side.
See what they're able to do.
Oh, that's Lord Doms for LWX.
Yeah, now it doesn't matter how much frontline OMG has. He will just be able to melt right through it. It's just ain't possible. Hui Smolder, they are killing these minions so easily.
I wonder, a little bit of picking apart from OMG does lead to a couple turrets going down. And that's the biggest thing I'm finding about this. We're about to crest into 40 minutes. Literally all eyes on both Abel and LWX. Maybe a little bit more so on LWX, but if he positions correctly and he can buy time, the sustained fights will lead to Smolder's victory. Oh no, oh no, that can't happen though. You cannot lose your front line, your beef. As now OMG, they're looking to make mincemeat out of RNG. They have the Elder, or at least the buff from LWX. Is it going to be enough? Cube is a monster here as Breathe fights back. They do end up picking apart a 2-for-2.
What a beautiful start from Angel with the charm, but they're able to turn it back around. And I think one of the things that's going to matter a lot going forward, which is why I've continued to emphasize the play, is that he performs a lot better as a secondary damage dealer in my mind, a more consistent damage dealer than the Ahri will in the long run. But if Angel can keep finding charms like that, you're still going to see the value.
Rabadon's completed there for Tangyuan, but we take a look back at the fight here.
Yeah, I believe it was Angel with the charm, spear rushing in to get that one. Starts off right away. But just look at how easily we're going to see when LWX gets involved. I believe he's going to take down the Senna here.
Oh my God.
Just 2 abilities thrown out. Immediately dead. That's the consistent DPS on the side of OMG, and that's really all she wrote. Is RNG now just going to be able to run OMG back to their base.
The push and pull that will not give up. Both teams fighting tooth and nail again. RNG, they cannot lose this series if they want to have any hope that is in the postseason, even if that's a far grasp. See OMG having trouble taking down RNG. They were at a deficit for a long time. They find themselves in an advantage here with this Senna comp. A GA now completed for XiaoFang, and they will have a lot of power coming into the next fight.
You know, we still haven't been on Senna. I'm still just staring intently bottom
We're
left
not
corner.
allowed.
Still gonna keep going for the
500
siege.
stack. Okay, we got it. It's 500
there it
stacks
is.
to 190.
90, yeah. Oh my.
That's a lot
What
of
a-
Senna stacks. 190.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows how far we're getting in this game, right? 41 minutes. We've already been through an Elder. We've already been through a couple of Barons. Full builds on Smolder. Full build on Angel.
But this is the time that means one catch out, one big fight is the end of the game. We have one Elder Dragon coming up in 45 seconds. Ming, last time around, got caught out ahead of time. This time not going to be the case. Angel waiting in the wings, waiting for a pick.
Ooh, and, you know, OMG have the 2 TPs they could utilize, but no, they just want to fight.
This is a good fight for LWX. He is untouched and he has angles. He has so much vision, and look at the execute. That's already a double kill for RNG. Now they need to pounce on LWX. They can't get him. LWX is untouched, and the President is rocking it as RNG moved to mid lane.
And I feel like this is it. This should be the nail in the coffin. OMG, I understand not looking to pull RNG apart when you don't have the TPs up, but having 2 TPs available. Breathe had already used his. I feel like just grouping up in front of the Dragon Pit wasn't the call.
It will be the call now, as they finally move back. Angel was on vision there, at least actually wasn't. And now they move XiaoFang over to try to get a steal, but they just engage on him immediately. And that execute is going to start getting oh so close, and the Elder Dragon from Smolder pops the GA at least, and now the rest of the team will just collapse completely onto him, and they'll turn away for the real Elder Dragon now, unless Angel can stop him. Oh, trying to pop his GA at least.
I mean, he's pretty much on 600 stacks now, so like it's only getting worse and worse as we progress. Looks like OMG, they aren't going to stop sending it though. Look at the mini-map. We have Ppgod and Abel on their way.
Oh, the flash from Angel! He goes golden. Dawning Shadow, cross flash from Tangyuan. Here comes Ppgod. I don't think they have the fight left in him, though. Abel's here. Look at him. He's chunking. But here comes Mommy. LWX is coming forward, and that execute's going to start burning. Wei finds the backline access, but can't get the counter-strike off. LWX finds another one, and that's RNG. They know their win condition. They know what works, and they always call Mom.
RNG punching up the 15th place team, taking down the 10th. This is who is sitting in that last playoff position right now in RNG with a statement in game 1.
They picked the Smolder. They knew they had the win condition. They just needed to get there. And who better than put it in the hands of a former world champion in LWX who hasn't had the brightest of days this split, but will have a bright one here. And RNG, that's a point of pride to start off this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. They have the Smolder. It ends up doing the work in the end. Tangyuan also didn't end up dying this game, so yeah, I'm interested to see what his damage numbers end up looking like. But it was a bit rough from OMG. This very messy game from both teams, and you could see a lot of times where it's like the angles weren't there for either side. And I don't know, Mazel. Next game gonna be weird. I'm ready for it.
I'm just wondering if OMG are coping and they're going to go let the Smolder open again, or if they'll finally go ahead and take that one away from RNG. We'll see after a break. We'll be back with